The 20th century is a very turbulent time.
Yes. Well, very
It's amazing
interesting.
that people survived it.
No, it was, yes, they survived. You know, I'm coming from a very specific part of France, northeast of France, just at the border of Germany. And this part, my grandparents were born German. Their own parents were French. They were born German. They became French again after the First World War, again German during the Second World War, and at least French now. My parents were born just between the two World Wars, with, okay, their own parents, German, French, German, okay, and French again. And when they married, it was 1960, they have to prove their French nationality because their own parents were born German. Okay, what I mean. Now I am living in a European community. It's only, yes, I am 44 years old. It's nothing. That means that in 40 years, we arrive to elaborate a very specific political entity. It's not the end, I know that. We have some difficulties now, but we had some difficulties before, and we shall have difficulties in the future. But for me, it's a very interesting example. 1 century ago, in my own birth town, people was engaged in a very atrocious war between French and German. And we, as French, people say, oh, they are very bad word to name the other. It's only 1 century. And again, 30 years after, again the same situation. We all the Nazism, all this very bad situation. When I heard 2 months ago at the election of Cardinal Ratzinger, I can read in papers, in French newspaper, what means the fact that this new Pope coming from Germany, during when he was young, he was singing Nazi song. It seems to be unacceptable. People forget that at this time, French people, as my parents, not my mother, but my father or my uncle, was obliged, as young people they had at this time 15 or something like that, was obliged to go to the Hitlerjugend, the Hitler Youth, and to sing this sort of song. It was the reality only 50 years ago. And now we belong together to the same entity, with the same euro. And you know, when I arrived 3 or 4 years ago, with my euro, perhaps I have that in my pocket. Until this time, when I travel in another country, I take euro, dollar. It was the only way to have change easily. Okay, after 2001, I traveled in a foreign country and arrived with my dollar. And people said, oh, you are French, yes. But you can use your euro as dollar. It's now an international money. It's been something for me. Only 50 years after the Second World War. And that situation, Teilhard have seen as previews. He said, I know that it's difficult now during the First World War. It was a very difficult time. And he was inside the battle during 5 years. But he had a sort of preview of the future, saying after that something new could arrive. And yes, that's right. I know not without difficulties, even for the future. But it's, for me, it's very interesting time. We will see for the future.
So, of course, Our Lady has appeared so many times in France and played roles in politics in France, right? I mean, the apparitions at Rue de Bac and to St. Catherine Labouré were political as well as religious. She saw the king die
Yes,
and all that.
it was more the 19th century. I think that we are now, it was a real modification at the beginning of with the beginning of the 20th century. You have this very interesting time between after the French Revolution and until during the 19th century. But the 20th century is very, very different.